Well, just before we begin with the lesson, I had something to share with you, that is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of creative and beautiful classes. So if you want to access all of my classes and all the other thousands of beautiful and creative classes and courses, if you follow the link in the description given below, you get 1 month free of Skillshare. Exactly, you get 1 month free of accessing all of my classes and learning from them, and also you get access for 1 month to all of the other thousands of creative and beautiful classes. So switch on your learning mode and click the link in the description and you get 1 month free of Skillshare. So with that being said, let's jump into the lesson. Alright, so we're zoomed in here onto the guitar fretboard, and here's our first jazz guitar chord, and this chord is called a C7 chord, and here's how it looks and sounds like. Well, that sounds really mysterious. Let's break this chord down and let's see what's going on onto the fretboard at our left hand. So my middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string, a C note. My index finger, or the first finger, is on the 2nd fret of the D string, an E note. And my ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the G string, which is an A sharp note. Lastly, my pinky, or the 4th finger, is on the 3rd fret of the high E string, a G note. So till now we have 3rd fret on the A with my middle finger, 2nd fret on the D with my index or the first finger, 3rd fret on the G with my 3rd finger or the ring finger, and lastly my pinky or the 4th finger is on the 3rd fret of the high E or the first string. And the strings we are skipping or not playing are the E, the 6th one, and the B. So we are only playing the strings A, D, G, and E. And that makes up the C7 chord. And here's how it sounds once again. Woo. Do you want to hear that once again? Let's go. Well, that was our first jazz guitar chord, and that was a C7 chord. Let's move on to our second jazz guitar chord and let's see what more mystery and fun we have in stock for us. Let's go. Right, so just before we break down and play the next or the second guitar chord, the jazz chords or jazz music in general is all about 7s, 9s and 13s and all of that sets, right? So here's our second chord, and this is a D7 chord, and here's how it looks and sounds. Well, that sounds fantastic. So let's look at our left hand and let's see how we can break this down. So my middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the G string, which is an A note, right? My index finger is on the 1st fret of the B, which is a C note. My ring finger or the 3rd finger is on the 2nd fret of the high E or the first string, which is an F sharp note. And together it sounds something like this. On the part of skipping and not playing strings, we are not playing or ignoring the A and the E. So you're not going to be playing the 6th and the 5th string. But we're going to be playing this chord from the 4th string, which is the D. So the strings we are playing are 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Once again, here's how it sounds. Beautiful. That was our second guitar chord, the D7 chord. Let's move on to our third one. Yes, that's our third guitar chord, and this one is an A minor 7, but this is a bar chord. So this one is an A minor 7 bar. Alright? So it's a really simple chord. What we're doing is taking our index finger, barring all the strings from the 6th to the 1st on the 5th fret, which gives us this luxurious and luscious sound. Right? And then we put our ring finger or the 3rd finger on the 7th fret A string. And then we play all of the strings. No skipping strings this time. Alright? is how beautiful it sounds. So once again, what we're doing, taking our index finger, barring all the strings from the 6th to the 1st on the 5th fret, and then just adding on our 3rd of the ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string. And there we have our A minor 7 bar chord. Right, so here's our 4th jazz guitar chord, and this one is called a C minor 7 flat 5. Once again, it's called a C minor 7 flat 5. And here's how it looks and sounds. Quite mysterious, isn't it? Let's see on our left hand and let's break this chord down. So my index finger is on the 3rd fret of the A or the 5th string, which is a C note. Great. My ring finger is on the next string, which is the D, but on the 4th fret, and this is an F sharp note. Then my middle or the 2nd finger goes on to the 3rd fret of the G string, which is an A sharp note. Lastly, my pinky goes on to the 4th fret of the B or the 2nd string, which is a D sharp note. So all total, the chord looks like this and sounds something like this. So the strings we are skipping and not playing over here are the 6th, the E, and the 1st string, the high E. Well, apart from that, here's the chord once again. Our index finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string. Our ring finger is on the 4th fret of the D string. Our middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the G string. Our pinky or the 4th finger is on the 4th fret of the B or the 2nd string. And here's once again how the chord looks and sounds like. We're playing the 4 strings, 5th, 4th, 3rd and 2nd. And there we have it. There's our C minor 7 flat 5 chord. Let's move on to our 5th guitar chord. Let's see what more mysterious and interesting and exciting sounds we have. Let's go. Right, so here's our 5th guitar chord, and this one is called as a G13 chord. Right, so it's a G13 chord, and here's how it looks and sounds. So let's focus on the left hand and let's break this chord down so that we can play as well. My ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the low E or the 6th string, that's a G note. My pinky or the 4th finger skips a string, that is the A, and goes on straight to the D string on the 3rd fret, which is an F note. And my 2nd finger goes on to the next string, which is the G on the 2nd fret, which is an A note. So all total 3 notes. 3rd fret of the low E string or the 6th string with my ring finger or the 3rd finger, the G note, 3rd fret of the D string with my pinky, which is an F note, and lastly my middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the G string, which is an A note. And here's how we play the chord. The string which we're not playing in this chord is the A string. Only the A string is ignored or not played. All the other strings are played. So here's how our G13 chord looks and sounds like. So we're playing the strings E, D, G, B, E. 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, absolutely gorgeous. We just completed learning 5 jazz guitar chords. let's move on to our sixth or the next guitar chord, and let's see what more fun we have in store for us. Let's go. Well, here's our sixth guitar chord, and this one sounds really beautiful. This one is called an F major 7 add 9th, and here's how it looks and sounds. Well, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Let's take a look at our left hand and let's break this chord down. So my middle finger is on the 8th fret of the A or the 5th string, and that's an F note, right? My index finger goes on to the next string, which is the 7th fret of the D string, and that's an A note. So till now we have 8th fret on the A with my middle finger, 7th fret on the D string with my index. Then my pinky finger goes on to the 9th fret of the G string, and that's an E note. Lastly, my ring or the 3rd finger goes on to the 8th fret of the B string, and that's a G note. Once again, 8th fret on the A string with my middle finger, an F note. 7th fret on the D string with my index finger, that's an A note. The little finger or the 4th finger is on the 9th fret of the G, and that's an E note. Lastly, my ring or the 3rd finger is on the 8th fret of the B string, and that's a G note. And here's the entire chord. Ooh, sounds absolutely gorgeous, right? So the strings I'm not playing in this chord are the low E or the 6th and the high E or the 1st. So I'm playing the strings 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, A, D, G, B. And there you go. There you have your 6th guitar chord, an F major 7 add 9. Let's move on to our 7th guitar chord right here. Right, so here's our 7th guitar chord, and this one sounds gorgeous as well. This one is called a D minor 7, and here's how it looks and sounds. Sounds really fantastic. So let's break this chord down. It's a really simple chord. My middle finger is on the 10th fret of the low E or the 6th string, and that's a D note. My ring finger skips a string, that is the A string, goes on straight to the D string 10th fret, and that's a C note. And lastly, my pinky or the 4th or the little finger is on the 10th fret of the same G string, but this time it's an F note. So once again, all the frets are on the 10th, but on the strings E, D and G with my middle, 3rd and 4th fingers. And we are going to only be playing these 3 strings. All these strings are not played in this chord. Absolutely gorgeous. So the strings I'm not playing in this chord are A, B, E. Strings I'm playing in this chord are low E, D and the G. And there you go, you have your D minor 7 chord. Well, we're reaching the very end very soon. Here's our 8th guitar chord, and this one is really beautiful. This one is called as a C major 7, and here's how it looks and sounds. Well, isn't that gorgeous as well? Fantastic. Let's take a look at how can we play this chord. My index finger goes on once again to the 8th fret of the low 6th E string, and that's a C note, right? So we skip a string here, that's the A string, and we go straight to the 9th fret of the D string with my ring or the 3rd finger, and that's a B note. And lastly, my fourth or the pinky finger is on the 9th fret of the G string, and that's an E note. So here's once again 8th fret on the E with my index, 9th fret on the D string with my ring, and on the same fret but on different string is the 9th fret with my little finger is on the G string. And here we have a gorgeous sounding C major 7. Fantastic. Let's move on to our 9th guitar chord. Let's see what more mysteries we have in store for us. Let's go. Right, so here's our second last chord, and that's the 9th guitar chord here, and this one is a G7 chord, and here's how it looks and sounds. That sounds like a detective story, isn't it? So let's break this chord down. Let's take a look at our left hand. My middle finger is on the 10th fret of the A string, and that's a G note. Then my index finger goes on to the 7th fret of the D string, and that's a B note. Lastly, my ring finger goes on to once again the 10th fret, but this time on the G string, and that's an F note. So all total, 10th on the A with my middle, 9th on the D with my index finger, once again 10th on the G with my ring finger. And here we have a beautiful sounding, and here we have a mysterious sounding G7 chord. Once again, in terms of the strings which we are not playing is the E, B and the E. So 6th, 2nd and 1st we're not playing. The strings which we are playing in this chord are the 5th or the A, 4th or the D, and 3rd or the G. So these three strings are being played, the A, D and the G. Once again, here we have a beautiful G7 chord. Once again, here is our G7 chord. Well, let's move on to our last or the 10th guitar chord. Let's go. Here we reach the very end. Here's our 10th beautiful guitar chord, and let's see what is this. So this one is a C6 chord, and here's how it looks and sounds. Gorgeous, isn't it? So let's see and break this chord down, and let's see what's happening. My middle finger is on the 6th string, E string's 8th fret, and that's a C note. Once again, we skip a string, and of course you guessed it right, we skip the A string here. We go straight to the D string 7th fret with my index finger, and that's an A note. Right, so till now we have 8th on the E with my middle, index on the 7th fret of the D, that's an A note. And to finish this entire chord off, I'm holding with my 4th or the little finger on the 9th fret of the G string, and that's an E note. So once again, 8th on the E with my middle, 7th fret on the D string with my index finger, 9th fret on the G string with my pinky. And together, here's a C6 chord, and here's how beautiful it sounds. Right, so the strings which we are not playing here are the A, the B and the E. The strings which we are playing here is the low E, the D and the G, which is 6th, 4th and 3rd. Once again, here's our C6 chord, and here's how beautiful it sounds once again. Congratulations, you just learned 10 beautiful jazz chords. Also, don't forget to use all of these chords into your own music, and don't forget to make beautiful chord progressions out of all of these chords we have learned. Please download the PDFs in which all of the chord diagrams are given for all of the chords we have learned in this class, which will act and help you with an extra resource which you can go back and learn and see and then come back and play. Once again, thank you so very much. I hope you got to learn a lot and had fun. Cheers, happy practicing.